from the Daily Mail, the Daily Wire. Pakistani suspect in plot to delete Trump was allowed into U.S. even though he was on the Teletubby watch list. Suspect in a plot to get rid of Trump was allowed into the U.S. even though he was on the Teletubbies watch list. I'm just curious. Do you still believe that 20-year-old kid outsmarted the law enforcement and Secret Service and got off 8 shots? How did this guy get in here in the first place? Jeez, man. A Pakistani man charged with plotting with Iran to assassinate former President Donald Trump and other U.S. officials was allowed into the U.S. even though he was on the Teletubby watch list. Asif Araz Merchant, 46, was arrested last month and charged in a murder-for-hire plot to assassinate a politician or U.S. government official on U.S. soil, the Department of Justice said in a press release on Tuesday. Just the News reported that Merchant was allowed into the U.S. by the FBI in April with special permission known as significant public benefit parole. Despite being flagged on the terrorism watch list and having recently spent time in Iran, the outlet obtained government memos showing that the FBI's Joint Teletubby Task Force interviewed Merchant, fingerprinted him, and inspected his electronic devices when he arrived in Houston, but allowed him to leave. I think it's the hatred of Donald Trump is palpable. I mean, they will tear this country apart. They will burn it to the ground before they allow Donald Trump near the White House. Can you please explain this to me? No, those of you out there who think that, the deep staters, they're not after Donald Trump. Just the News reported that the Teletubby was allowed into the U.S. by the FBI with special permission known as significant public benefit parole. Significant public benefit. What is that benefit, I wonder? Well, you don't understand him, but he was a businessman. They already had him fingerprinted and knew he was on the Teletubby list. Sorry, that just doesn't wash. Despite being flagged on the Teletubbies watch list and having recently spent time in Iran. So they knew where he came from, spent significant time in an adversarial country, was on the Teletubby watch list, and the FBI let him in. By the way, everyone knows the would-be official was Donald Trump. The outlet obtained government memos showing that the FBI's Joint Teletubby Task Force interviewed him, fingerprinted him, and inspected his electronic devices when he arrived in Houston, but allowed him to leave. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I understand why you're so upset. This guy's perfectly fine. It's a significant public benefit for him to come in. Stop and think about that. What's the benefit? Oh my God. Quote, subject was polite and cooperative throughout encounter. The FBI interview memo said, subject's notable travel outside the country of citizenship includes a recent trip to Iran. Merchant was arrested on July 12th, just one day before Trump was nearly assassinated at the rally and blah, blah, blah. You know the end of that story. He was polite, very cooperative. He just wants to come here and, get rid of one of our Achilles heels. And then, of course, when the jig was up, they arrested him. Why do you think they arrested him? Why would you arrest somebody that was polite and cooperative? You still don't think it was an inside job? You still think that the FBI and Secret Service are on the up and up? No, they're not. Immigration records reviewed by Just the News revealed that Merchant was on the watch list with a note calling him a lookout qualified person of interest. Let him in anyway. Just stop. Why would they do that? I mean, not only do you have Alejandro Mayorkas allowing Teletubbies to come through unencumbered, you got the FBI allowing them to come in. Several law enforcement officials who spoke with Just the News said Merchant's parole designation would allow agents to attempt to flip him into cooperating against Teletubbies or allow them time to determine why he was coming to the U.S. and who he was working with. Those tactics also came with the risk that they would lose track of him. God. Oh, man. Oh, my God. We're going to let him in. We're looking through, this guy is really polite. This is a wonderful guy. We may be able to flip him, provided, we don't lose sight of him. God. Holy crap. This is unbelievable, man. Merchant was allowed to remain in the country beyond the expiration date. After being allowed in the U.S., Merchant immediately contacted someone he thought could help him allegedly carry out the assassination. The DOJ said the person contracted law enforcement and became a confidential source to assist the law enforcement in its investigation of Merchant. So he gets here, they let him in. They take the risk of him, take the risk of losing sight of him. But then he comes into contact with the FBI. That's what a confidential source is. Merchant allegedly told the CS that he was assigned to recruit bad men to steal documents or USB drives from a target's home, plan protests, and delete politicians or government officials. Merchant expected the CS to plan the assassination and warned him that the target would be surrounded by security. Merchant said the assassination should take place after he left the country and indicated that he had been assigned this task by individuals in Iran or Pakistan. That's called playing with your life. They're just playing with your life. Playing with your preferred candidate's life. That's what they were doing. They knew the risk, but it was worth taking the risk.